Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Little Likac podcast, episode 84. My name is Amanda and I'm coming to you from Derby in the United Kingdom, and this is a knitting and crochet podcast, and this will be the last one of 2024. So I will be showing you a little bit of going through some stats for this year of how many projects I've knitted, and how many meters of yarn I've managed to use and things like that, as well as showing you some finished objects and also some new cast-ons. So a lot to get through today. It could be a longer episode, just to give you that heads up. I reckon this is going to be an hour. It is Sunday the 29th of December 2024, so just a couple of days left of this year. So I have had a really productive year in terms of knitting and crochet, and also it's been a good year for my little business, Little Likac Yarn. I had a couple of yarn shows that have gone really well, and the advents have all been really well received as far as I'm aware anyway. I've only had really positive feedback. And although I did have a couple of months where I couldn't really do anything because I broke my elbow in at the end of September, overall the actual yarn business has been, you know, a good success this year, I feel. So that is all exciting, and yeah, I've got more plans for next year and hopefully just keep building a little bit at a time on the yarn business. So 2024 for me has felt like a pretty good year, even though I had a bit of a blip. September time didn't have the best of luck from a personal point of view, but yeah, overall I feel like it's been good. So in total, I set myself a challenge on Ravelry. On Ravelry you can, in your project page, there is a place where you can set yourself a target for how many projects you want to finish in a year. And I'd set myself a target in 2023, and then I think I forgot I'd set a target, and I set a target for 50 projects, and I actually did about 46, something like that, but I completely forgot I'd set that target. So this time last year I set myself a target of 50 projects again, and I've been much more aware of it, and I kept checking in on it, and in fact in total I've completed 53, might have been 54 projects this year. So I definitely smashed that target. Now I did 2 scrap baskets at the same time, and I counted those as 2 separate projects. And then when I did all the worry worms for my year 11s, Stu, stop it. I had 2 year 11 classes, so I counted 1 set of worry worms, which was about 30 of them or 25 of them, as one project. And then I had a smaller class of about 10 students. I counted that. But in total, I did about 35 worry worms. So I think splitting that over 2 projects is fine. But anyway, as I say, I smashed the 50. I would say it was 53, 54 in total. But 25 of those projects were pairs of socks. Yeah, 25 pairs of socks. So the first finished object I'm going to show you today is, in fact, a finished pair of socks. And these were the December socks for my Socksy and You Know It make along. Yay! And I got these finished with plenty of time to spare before Christmas. I think on the last podcast I was saying if need be, you know, as long as I got them finished by the end of the year. I actually got them finished, I think about the 22nd of December. So really pleased with those. The yarn that I used was gifted to me from Nancy from LayingCable yarn, and she gifted this to me in an advent from I think 2 years ago now actually, and they've just knitted up absolutely beautifully. Very pleased with those. So yes, that's the first finished object to show you, and that completes then my 12 pairs of socks that I knitted, 1 pair per month from self-striping yarn. They were all vanilla pattern, and they were all knitted on 2.5mm needles, 60 stitches, which just meant they knitted up a little bit quicker, because usually I use 2.25 and 64 stitches, but this one just knitted them at a slightly looser gauge, but 60 stitches still keep them tight enough for me, and they just knit up just that little bit quicker. And I always say self-striping yarn knits up more quickly as well, because you just constantly want to get that next colour repeat, don't you, or colour change. So these are going to go into this box here, and in this box I have all 12 pairs of the socks that I did for the Socksy and You Know It make along. This is going to continue next year, I did a video back in November where I picked out the yarns for next year's challenge, and they are all wrapped up, and the first one of those is going to be opened up on Wednesday this week, 1st of January. So these are going to go, and let me show you this box with my 12 pairs. Look at this. Now that should be my thumbnail, shouldn't it? There we go, 12 pairs of socks, all knitted in self-striping yarn over the course of 2024, and I've not worn any of them. And what I did do the other evening was I pulled them all out and checked that all the ends were woven in and sewn in on all of them, because there were some pairs where I hadn't sewn in the ends. So I have done that now, so they are all ready to start being worn. I have 3 pairs of kind of like Christmas socks in here. So that pair is Vintage Tinsel by West Yorkshire Spinner. That is one of the Christmas yarns from Head Over Heels Stylecraft, and then that's the one from Nancy at LayingCable. So I've got 3 pairs which probably will get saved to be worn in December next year. All the rest can be worn at any time. These kind of were Halloween ones, but I said they looked a bit like Finding Nemo. So yeah, we've got, what have we got? We've got Opal, I believe. Regia, I believe, West Yorkshire Spinner, Yarn Badger, West Yorkshire Spinner, West Yorkshire Spinner, Stylecraft Head Over Heels, Sable Yarns, I think Stylecraft again, Head Over Heels, LayingCable, Yarn Badger, LayingCable. So yeah, really lovely selection of brand new socks for me to wear next year. So I might have a little bit of a sort out of my handmade socks as well, because I've got a couple of pairs that I've got one pair where the toe has come undone. I know that I used the very end of the toe, I used a different yarn, and I now think maybe it wasn't a sock yarn, didn't have nylon in it, because it's worn through, so I need to repair those. And then just have a bit of sort through of my hand knitted socks and put these in with them. And then this box will get used again. Now this box actually came from the Rainbow Socks Chronicles, which was a sock knit along hosted by Lay Family Yarn back in 2021, I think. So yeah, so I will empty out this box and it will be ready then to start a new box of socks for 2025. The second finished item to show you this today is also another pair of socks, but I don't have them with me because I gave them away to my daughter for Christmas, and I did say to her I'll need those to show them on the podcast. She's actually wearing them today. I've just seen her and she's worn them quite a few times, so they're already looking a little bit worn. So I gave them to her on Christmas Day. She loved them. You did see them when I started to make them last week, or in the last podcast, so I will put a picture here of the finished socks. And as predicted, she doesn't mind the fact that they don't match, because I did say to her, I'm going to tell you now, they don't match up. She was like, oh yeah, that's fine. And then when she actually put them on, she looked down at her feet, she went, oh no, they really don't match up. I went, no. And she said, that's fine, I'm good with that. So I finished those as well. They were knitted on 2.25mm, 64 stitches, but just plain vanilla socks, so again I could do them quite quickly. I also gave my husband his Christmas socks, which you did see finished on the last podcast, the Yuletide ones. He really loves them. He doesn't mind that they're sparkly, and he's really pleased with them, and he has been wearing those already as well. So there is still a pair of hand knitted socks to be gifted to my daughter's boyfriend. She is going to see him today. She's going to go and spend a week with him. It's a bit of a long distance relationship. He lives down on the Isle of Wight, which is quite a few hundreds of miles, and then you have to get a ferry across as well. So she's going down there today and she'll spend a week down there, so she will give him his socks. He has already asked for another pair of socks, but I sort of said to my daughter, wait till he's tried these on, that they fit, that he likes them, and if so I will try and get him another pair done for his birthday, which is in January, but we won't see him till towards the end of January, so that gives me time to get them done. But I said I'd rather know that he definitely likes them, because he's not had hand knitted socks before. And the other gift knitting I did was my daughter's cardigan, and again you have seen that already. Yeah, she was very happy with that. Yeah, so all the gift knitting, generally speaking, has been gifted. So the last finished object to show you for 2024, and this really helped with my stash busting this year, is the Logalicious cabin blanket. And I have finished this completely. And again, I want to say I've sewn in all the ends, but literally as I picked it up to bring it down, I suddenly saw there are 2 ends still not sewn in, which is really annoying because I thought I'd got them all. So anyway, we have the, let me hold it all up. It's quite difficult to show. So I'll put a picture here, although I think this picture, I haven't quite finished the border, but you can see how it's all laid out. So this is the Logalicious blanket pattern designed by Louise Tilbrook, where it gives you 4 different designs for log cabin blankets. And I used 3 of those designs. So in each corner, I've done one of this design. In each middle section, I've done this design, and then the very middle square, because I did 3, 3 and 3, so it's 9 blocks in total. The very middle block is this one. Now I used 4,700 meters of yarn to do this because it's all 4-ply held double, and the coloured 4-ply fingering are all scraps. So some of these were leftovers from me, and some of these were given to me in like an advent swap last year, and I was surprised at how much yarn it took, but that was great because it really has used up a lot of yarn. 4,700 meters. The border, I had about 75 grams of the 4-ply cream left, and I was worried that if I held that double it really wasn't going to go around very many times, so I crocheted the border but just used a single strand instead of double. And what I did was I went round and did double crochet, this is all UK terminology, double crocheted all the way round for the first row round. Then I did a treble crochet all the way, then half treble, and then double crochet again. So that's the border all the way round. And then I was left with like about 5 grams of that cream. So I did really well at using up so much yarn on this. And as I say, I calculated it to be 4,700 meters. Everything is sewn in on the back. I think it looks quite neat on the back. I weaved in the ends as I could, as I went, as much as I could. There's the one bit, look at that, there's the one bit that's not sewn in. So I weaved in the ends when I could, as I was knitting and picking up stitches. So that only left a certain number of ends that couldn't be woven in as I went, because I was on a purl, not a purl side, but anyway, yeah, just because of the way the knitting worked. It's all in garter stitch, it's really squishy, it's going to go upstairs in our bedroom and be kind of a blanket that can go on the bed. And yeah, now it's all together with cream border, I like it a lot more, because I think last podcast I was saying I'm not sure how much I like it, and my husband does like it as well, so yeah. So why does it matter that this used 4,700 meters? Well, I set myself a challenge in 2024 to use up more yarn than I bought. And how did that go? Well, if you're a regular viewer, you know that it wasn't going brilliantly well. I can give you the final statistics. Let me just find, I wrote them down. Where did I write them down? Right, I can give you the final statistics. So I bought 36,000 meters of yarn last year. So that was a lot that I did buy. Some of that, about 10,000 meters of that, came from this impulse buy of a load of Surdust Snuggly Seconds quality. That was about 10,000 meters, so that was a real disaster in terms of the stash busting. And yeah, I do want to try and use some of that this year, either knitting for babies and maybe doing some blankets, and again holding it double and crocheting up some blankets and things like that for babies. So yeah, I bought 36,170 meters worth of yarn. Some of that was bought for specific projects, but a lot of it wasn't. I used, as in I knitted or crocheted myself, 32,488 metres. So you can see at that point, that's 4,000 metres less than what I had bought. So that's not good. However, I did give some away. I gave some away in giveaways, which I will be doing again next year. So if you join in with the Socks Doing You Know It Make Along next year, and if you enter your socks on the Ravelry thread, there is a chance that you will win some yarn out of my stash. So I gave away some on yarn giveaways. A little bit went to charity shop, but that wasn't very much. But my daughter has actually had 2 big amounts from me. So in the summer she started working on a dress, and I gave her 2,000 metres worth of cotton for a dress. She then had to buy some more herself. And then also when she came home last week, she was saying that she really wanted to start a new blanket, but she wasn't going to because she'd got a blanket on the go back in her digs at uni. And she said the pattern that she liked was something called something like the 6-day style blanket. The theory was that you could crochet it in 6 days. And I said, well, you're home for 2 weeks, you could potentially make it while you're here. And I've just got out all my acrylic stash blanket kind of yarn because I started a blanket, which I'll show you shortly. I said, so I've got the tub out, do you want to have a look in there? So she took 9 balls, maybe 10 balls of yarn from that stash, and that was another sort of 1,500 metres or something as well. So in total, gifted and given and gone from my stash was another 8,000 metres, which means in total my stash out was 40,956 metres, and the stash in was 36,170, which means in total I have got 4,786 metres less in my stash than I started the year with. Let's give me a round of applause. But if I hadn't done this blanket, it probably would have been about net zero. I need to do better than that next year. Next year has got to be better. That target needs to be above 4,786 metres. So what should we set a target for? Should we set a target for a minimum of 10,000 metres next year? To have used 10,000 metres, or to have 10,000 metres more out of stash than in, is the plan for next year. I have not included my own advent yarn because that's business use, so that doesn't count, and that's why I'm sticking to it. So yes, so anyway, it is a loss. I have got more out than in, but I didn't knit more than came in. Well, we'll work on it, we'll work on it. We'll keep going, we'll keep going. That's the fun. And also, I don't feel like I really denied myself anything. There were a few times when I was tempted, and having the challenge made me really think, do I need it? Am I going to use it? Is there a good reason for buying it? And when I go to yarn shows, then obviously that's slightly different because that's part of the reason for being there. But again, I still try to say to myself, is this different to things I've already got? And what would I plan to use it? So I try to buy things like kits or things that came with patterns or with something very specific in mind. When we went on holiday, I like to buy yarn when I'm on holiday because then it kind of becomes a souvenir yarn. So, you know, apart from the big Sirdar splurge, the baby, what's it called, Snuggly, the Sirdar Snuggly yarn, apart from that splurge, most of the yarn I bought this year was bought for specific projects and things like that. So yeah, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. It's supposed to be fun. Okay, shall we go on to... Yes, I'm just looking at, I did make myself a little list of things. I am just going to quickly talk about the yarn club for next year because that will be something that will come into my stash. But again, actually I'm going to keep that separate because, like I say, that's kind of business anyway. But the yarn club for next year is going really well actually on pre-orders for January. You need to order, I've put on Etsy 2nd of January as the cut-off date. Stu, stop it. Because I am hoping I might actually be able to dye up the club colours the weekend of the 4th and 5th. So you do need to order by the 2nd of January. There is 2 mini skein options. There's 4-ply minis or DK minis, and then there's 100-gram skein options, 4-ply and DK, and they are what was I going to say? Yeah, if you order the mini skeins, it's 3 20-gram mini skeins that you'll get. And the theme for the year is Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot novels, and the first one is The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which was the first Hercule Poirot novel written by Agatha Christie. So yeah, if you want to see the mood board for the colours, that's here. And yeah, so go to Etsy, order that by the 2nd of January as the cut-off date, so I can then get that dyed up. And then hopefully there will be, so I'll dye them up the weekend of the 4th, 5th, and then the weekend after will be then when I send the orders out. Okay, it's exciting. Oh yeah, let me just say as well, you will get a little mini mystery story with each club as well. So yeah, there'll be a stitch marker and a little mini mystery story as well. Okay, right, shall we talk about new cast-ons? If you haven't already seen, on my channel I have started doing a daily vlog from the 24th of December, which will go through till the 4th of January, where I am casting on a new project every day for 12 days. So it's called the 12 Cast-Ons of Christmas. I'm doing this as a part of the 12 Cast-Ons that Ange from Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel does. I'm just going to pause a second because the dog wants to go out. Can you hear him? Give me a second. Okay, so that's Stu back in the main house. Okay, if you don't know, I podcast down in our little office that we've got down at the bottom of the garden. It's only very small, but it's a great little extra room that we have. When the girls were very young, well, not very young because we only got this, how many years ago did we get this? About 7 or 8 years ago. But when the girls were younger, they even had a couple of sleepovers in here. Not quite sure how they managed to fit 4 people sleeping in here, but well, kids, they'll manage it, won't they? And it was an office really for my husband when he had his, he was self-employed for a while and things. But it's now becoming the little Likac office, and hopefully at some point the little Likac dyeing studio. Hopefully, if we can get onto that. Anyway, let me show you the first project that I cast on. Now this one's crochet, as I never know whether you should use the term cast on. So started anyway. This was the first one that was started on the 24th of December. Now it is a blanket, and I've actually got 2 bags on the go for this because what you do is you take, it's quite you randomise your colours by taking putting all your yarn into one bag, and then you take out a ball of yarn, do the first bit of the granny square, which I'll show you in a second, it's not a square, and put it into the second bag, then take another one out and put it into the second, and so do that with all the colours and then go back again. So you're randomising using the colours. So this title is the Mystical Lanterns Blanket, which is designed by Janie Crow. And I have been a bit addicted to these. I've really enjoyed making these. Let me just find the first, there we go, first strip. So I started this on Christmas Eve, and I think I did in total about 7, well, I'll show you how many I did on the first day. Which was the starting point? I believe this was the start. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the first day. However, having said that, I think that's the right way around. Yeah, I think I did 6 though, because then I had another one that I forgot to join, because you join as you go. So, but now in total, I've got a whole first strip. There's 11 lanterns in each, or you do so many of 11, and then you do another load which have got 10 full lanterns and then half lanterns, so that you've got a straight edge, but I haven't looked at any of the half lanterns yet. So yes, I'm doing this as a stash buster, so I went through and picked out colours. Quite a lot were full balls of yarn, and then I put a few balls that were maybe half a ball. if you look at the 12 cast ons day one, I do go through all the colours and say which ones are which brand. So I've got at full 11, then I've started a new strip. I've got 3 done on there. So I'm going to move my stitch marker progress keeper to here. What I am now trying to do is trying to do a lantern a day. So when it gets to about 10 o'clock, 10:30, it takes me about half an hour to do one. I've got the pattern in my head now as well, which makes it even quicker. So yeah, about 30 minutes to do one. Right, let's put the progress keeper in there because that was the one I did last night. Really like those colours together. So yeah, so I'm doing a lantern a day, and I reckon if I can keep that up and then including sewing it together, etc., it could be finished by the end of June. We'll see. We'll see. So let's put those back in. But I'm really enjoying that project. So that was project number 1 of the 12 cast ons. Like I say, if you want more information about the pattern and the yarns that I'm using, then as I say, check out the videos. Cast on number 2 I think is in this bag. Oh, and this was one of the ones that you guys voted on. And this has also been a really good one where on some of the other days I've done a bit of work on this as well. This is a paper pattern, as you can see, and it is a commercial paper pattern. And it's a chunky waistcoat. That is the waistcoat that I'm doing. The pattern is Stylecraft 9813 and it is chunky yarn. I'm actually using Stylecraft Special Chunky. So used to saying Stylecraft Special DK, but it's actually Stylecraft Special Chunky in the colourway just purple. And it's a beautiful purple. You are going to see a lot of purple today. And I started with the back because this was my Christmas Day cast on, and I said I want a project that I can just cast on and knit. That there's no shaping, no colour, no difficult stitches, and that's exactly what this was. So I started on the back, and where that progress keeper is where I got to by the end of Christmas Day, which was nearly halfway up the back. And then since then I've also, in some of the evenings when I've been getting tired, or you'll see as well some of the projects are more complicated and I find that I need a break from them, I've come back to doing some of this. So I am probably 3/4 of the way finished the back of this. Sorry, I keep checking my phone, and the reason I'm doing that is because my daughter, who's off to the Isle of Wight, will be leaving quite soon, and I told her to message me before she goes so I can pause the podcast and go up and say goodbye to her properly, because she won't be back till next week, and then she'll only be back for a few hours and then back up to university. So I'll just move that progress keeper. So I am actually planning on keeping going on this even while I'm casting on the new projects as well, because I think it will knit up very quickly, and it'll be nice to have a finished project fairly early on in January. So I'm going to keep going on this as well. So perhaps depending on what I cast on Thursday I've got a knit and natter, that's my usual knit and natter, but if I cast on something complicated on Thursday, I'll probably still take this then to the knit and natter rather than taking something complicated. So that is cast on number 2, and again, if you do want any more information on that, that's in the 12 cast on videos. Okay, so cast on number 3, I believe is not in here. Cast on number 3, I think is down here. Maybe I've put it away. Cast on number 3 then I haven't brought down with me. It might be away in the living room. So cast on number 3, it was a colourwork vest. Oh yeah, now I know which project bag I'm looking for. It's definitely not down here. It's a colourwork vest. It is absolutely beautiful. It's being knitted in Wensleydale Longwool DK, and all I'm going to say on that one then is take a look at the video cast on number 3 for that one. But it's really, really pretty, but I've only done, I did the rib and then maybe about that much of the actual colour work. So that's a project that, for example, I couldn't spend all day just on that project because it took quite a lot of focus and concentration. So some of the waistcoat got knitted on that day, and I think about 2 or 3 of the lanterns got crocheted that day. Right, day 4 though. Day 4 is this one, and this is another commercial pattern. This is King Cole DK, and the yarn is called Harvest DK, and I am doing this jacket. Sorry about the glare. I am doing this jacket, and actually it's quite interesting because this jacket is similar to this sweater, that you start off with stripes like this, but it will change to vertical blocks. You can't really tell that. Sorry about the glare. You can't really tell that on that picture very well, but it will turn to vertical blocks, but not yet. So the yarn I'm using for this is the Harvest DK in the colourway Heather, and on the first day, I didn't even cast this on till the afternoon because my parents came up on that day. So on the first day I had only got that much of the rib. Now you do cast on a lot of ribbing to begin with because you're knitting the front and back all in one piece. So I'd got to there. However, if you watch the cast on video for day 5, you'll see that I ended up spending a bit of time on this still on day 5, and yeah, things didn't go quite to plan for day 5. So I've just moved the progress keeper up to here, so next time I show this we'll see all the progress I've made on it. I think I've just about finished the rib on this now, so I will be starting on the stocking stitch section, but I'm not sure when this will get picked up again, because I've got more cast ons to do, and I think the chunky waistcoat will be the first one that I aim to finish. So this is probably going to get left down here in the office for a while now until so won't get worked on again for a little while. Right, and then day 5 was another one that you guys voted on. So that Harvest cardigan was one that you guys voted on. Day 5, yesterday's, I started the beaded mitts. Now, for long complicated reasons, I hadn't planned to start on this yesterday, but it ended up getting cast on yesterday, and I was at my in-laws' house, so I was chatting to a lot of people, family, etc. So I didn't get huge amounts done on it, and then when we came home I had a pounding headache, so didn't get huge amounts done on it, but it started and it is beautiful. And this is knitted in an alpaca, baby alpaca silk blend that I bought from Alpaca Evolution, Alpaca Farm, and you can see the beads. So this has got lace, beads and cables, so definitely not a beginner pattern. Having said that, it isn't, you know, if you can do all of those things, you've just got to do all of those things on the same project. Yeah, I don't think, no, there are some rows where you're doing lace and cable, but the rows where you're putting beads on, you're not doing lace or cable. But the beads slow you down as well. Well, they do me. I'm not fast at putting beads on, but it's going to be beautiful. So I have gone through those quite quickly because, as I say, there are separate little videos for each of those. The 12 cast-ons will carry on. I have got a new project to cast on today. I'm about to film the beginning vlog for that. It is now nearly 12 o'clock, so again, this is probably a project that's not going to get hours and hours of work done on it today, but at least we will get it started. So I'll be filming that in a minute. The cast-on for January the 1st will be, excuse me, let me just get this box out. Yeah, the cast on for January 1st will be the first cast on of Socks in You Know It Socks for 2025. And in here I have 24 balls of sock yarn, all self-striping once more, all wrapped up. And then I asked my husband, I wrote out 12 stickers with numbers on, and then I asked my husband to just randomly put the stickers on each one. So yeah, I can see number 1 there. And so I will be casting on, opening up and casting the first one of those on Wednesday for January the 1st. I think that is enough for me to talk about for today, don't you? I think that is enough. Yeah, I mean, plans is casting on lots of new projects. So if you want to see each day what I cast on, then please do check out the 12 cast on videos. Do check out Angie's YouTube channel where this originates from. And we will be doing our first giveaway as well. The next podcast I will be pulling out a winner from the November socks on Ravelry. So get any socks that you knitted that you started in November and is finished by the end of December, you can put that into the November Ravelry thread. If you've started a pair of socks in December, put them into the December Ravelry thread, and I will be pulling a winner out in the next podcast, which will be in 2 weeks' time, and that will be from the November thread. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody who watches, likes and comments on any of the videos, and hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.